Coming up at 1 o'clock on BBC Two is Mike Leigh's classic 1978 play, four very middle-class people talking about something mundane for 2.5 hours, like chewing or mowing the lawn. Until then, though, it's time for another thrilling episode of Foxx screwing some things together.
Model Making Guru is sponsored by emodels.co.uk. Make something awesome. Hey everyone, it's Foxx from modelmaking.guru here. Hello and welcome to the next instalment of the DeAgostini Build Your Own X-Wing Partwork Build Series videos. Partwork, X-Wing. There's far too many words in that title, and I nearly said Millennium Falcon, force of habit. But yes, welcome. It's me carrying on with the DeAgostini X-Wing build, the studio scale 1/18 scale massive X-Wing fighter, Red 5. Now, I have to say, as always, massive thank you in the interest of transparency and disclosure. Massive thank you to the guys at DeAgostini who are actually providing this for me. I'm not paying for this, I'm being sent this, so massive thank you to those guys. Now, you'll notice here, I've got quite a few magazines. There's been a delay because one of the deliveries got delayed and there was Christmas, so I've got a bit of a backlog. So rather than go through all the magazines one by one, which is what I normally do, and then crack on with the buildy, can we just agree that it's going to be how they made the models, lore and fluff, and then how to build the bits you've received that month? We'll take that as read. In future issues, we'll go back to look at the magazines, but I've got 6 to do and I haven't got time to go through all of them. So assume it's how they made it, fluff, how to make it yourself. There you go. Right. The reason I didn't want to dwell on those is because I've got all these. I've got lots to do today. Let me go and sort this out and we'll crack on. Okay, so we're going to start with issue 11, which is the first one in this episode. And we're building the upper starboard engine. Now, not a massive amount of parts here. We have some brown bits, a tube, and some Griebels. Yes, these are all starting to give the little surface details now. So it's not going to be too complicated. But yeah, we've got these Griebels here. Now, one little handy tip, and I've said this before, whenever you get these little tiny parts in blister packaging or something, whatever you want to call this, it tends to come like that. Just make sure when you pop the top half off, that there's no little parts left behind, because I've had it happen to me before. I've got a missing piece and I'm like, oh, there's a piece missing, and there's not. It's just statically clinging to the other part of the packaging. So always double check there's nothing left in the packaging. Now let's do this very carefully. What we're going to do, yeah, we're just going to tip it out. There we go. Tipping. Make sure again there's nothing left behind. There we go. Never leave a man behind. So shouldn't be too complicated. Let's follow the instructions. So the first step is to take the engine casing and the 2 parts of the fission chamber. Yes, I love the way they give them official names. Now this is supposed to go somewhere. Ah, there we go. It goes here like this, you'll see. Just snicked into 2 little holes here. It should just snicked in place. Now I have been debating whether to glue all these. Maybe not this bit, I can't get in. But all the little Griebels on the outside of the engine cowling. So snicked in. Oh, this is going to be one of those tight fits that you have to push quite firmly. Oh, hang on a minute. There's the right way. Yes, it is. Yes, there we go. I've been debating whether to glue all these bits and bobs into place. All these Griebels for the outside. I don't know. Like I said before in earlier episodes, my plan is to get all this assembled, have a look at it, get a plan of action, disassemble it all, and then paint it properly. Now, there are certain things I'm not going to need to worry about, like the Griebels that go on the outside here. They could just theoretically be glued on now, because I don't need to take them off to paint them. But I don't want to make any real mistakes on this, so I'm going to leave them just stuck in place for now, as in just pressure fit. If I need to come back and glue them later, I can do. So what's next? Next, we have to put this in here, see? So this goes this way. I've just got the magazine here to aid me. There are 2 mounting posts on the fission chamber that fit into the matching pins inside the engine casing. Excellent. That's this way, and it goes thusly. I totally ignored any pins because I shouldn't have done. There we go. Got these 2 little tubes here and these 2 pins here. That's what we're looking to aim. I see I read that sentence and then I totally ignored it. Now, of course, once the engine is built, you're not going to see any of that. It's just going to disappear. So it's nice little bits of detail, but you're not going to see it. It's just gone. So you'll never see this again. There we are. So that is that bit. Next, we have to add some of the Griebels. Now we have them here. Let's just get them ready. Now it does rather handily give you a little exploded list here. So we have this one here, which is I. It's not true size, full size, but never mind. We have E, and they're all kind of distinct, so I don't think we really need to worry about this too much, but there we go. Now this, if you were to ask me what that is, I would probably quite happily say that is landing gear from some sort of aircraft, perhaps an Airfix Lancaster kit or Mosquito or something like that. That looks like landing gear. And remember, when these kits were made, there was a lot of kit bashing going on. Basically, when ILM first started, they would quite simply go to the local model shop down the road, the hobby store, and they've said it in documentaries, they would literally buy every Tamiya model or every model they could get their hands on. They would clear the shelves. They did go for a lot of Tamiya models. 1, 2, 3, 4 little stalks. 4 little stalks. Yeah, they would clear the shelves of all the Tamiya kits. And so a lot of the Griebels on Star Wars vehicles and a lot of other ILM stuff are recognisable parts of certain vehicles. A little U-shaped thing there. You know, there's tank jacks. There's a lot of this piping. I couldn't tell you where some of this piping comes from. A lot of this could be custom-made piping they just made with plastic strips and tubes. Some of it will be exhaust from vehicles and piping from aircraft, and some of it will just be random things they made. But it is fascinating to know how they've done that. Now, I'm going to put this on. So it has here a ghost diagram with the Griebels ghosted on, so you can see. So first and foremost, we have. Now the difficulty is I can't. Hang on, let me get the other page because I can't see this page and the other page at the same time. Spoon Fox, you didn't plan that, did you? I don't plan nothing, you know that. I don't do no planning or nothing either. Right, so take part A, so not that one, which has a long tab that matches the slot in the engine casing. This is here. There we go. That just goes into that slot there. And I hope this is in focus. I've locked the camera at a certain distance and then forgotten how high I made that distance. So I'll move this out of the way so it doesn't kill the white balance too much. So that goes in there. That's quite a nice tight fit. These are actually quite a nice tight fit, so I probably won't need to glue these anyway, but I might well do later on. Next we need part B, which is the landing gear, which needs to go that way. These 4 holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That just locks in there. Splatunch. Yeah, there's no way that's ever going to actually come out ever again. So I don't think I need to glue this. I might do, but potentially I might do. I don't know. We'll see. That completes this stage. You will continue to build engine internals in the next stage. Wait, is that it? Oh, I just turned the page and flipped all little bits of plastic off. You spoon. Let me just double check I've got everything. Oh, Fox, you're so special. Yeah, I just turned the page and everything went wing across the desk and I'm like, oh, that's there. Let's find all the bits I've just thrown across the desk. Oh. Is that issue 11? That is issue 11. That. Okay. I'm not. Oh, hang on. Wait, no, sorry. Read the words, Fox, with your eyes. Continue. Then continue in the same way until you've fitted all 9 details. I was going to say it was a bit rubbish, if you know what I mean. Right, so we have those 2. We need C. Let's bring the parts back again, get them in place. I just need to distinguish between the one with 4 stalks and the one with 3. So that is 3, that is 2, and that is 4. It wouldn't be one of my let's build the really simple thing if I didn't mess it up or not understand the simple instructions somehow now, would it? It wouldn't be right. So let's follow the instructions. So C needs to go here. So C is this one. And it seems to suggest curve there. So it curves off down the front. So we'll hope these are all tight fits. And we'll hope we don't break anything. If I break anything, I really will have to get the glue out. Yes. just push that in there. It's at a jaunty angle. I'm being very careful. There we go. Beautiful. I can feel it go into place. That's never going to come off ever again. Yes. Part D is the one with 4. Oh, it's the one with the letter D on it. Hello, Fox. Hello. My first X-Wing build, like and subscribe. Part 1, part 11, 12. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, how are you all? While I'm doing this, how is everybody? That needs to go in there. Now, here's an update for you, by the way. You remember, as I've said right from the start, I'm very, very lucky in that this is being provided to me by DeAgostini. I'm not paying for this. I'm always transparent about this. I'm not paying for this. However, this does mean, of course, if anything is substandard, I'm going to call it out. I'm not going to deny saying something's not right if it's not right, just because I'm being given the whole thing. But because of their good graces, I am receiving this. However, I didn't know. A, B, C, D, E. E's that one. I didn't know, didn't have any clue what package I was on. As in, am I on the basic package? Am I on the... How's that going now? Am I on the premium package? I really had no idea at all, because it goes that way. The premium one, of course, the premium package is where you get like the pilot, and you get all the accessories for the landing, for the sort of the docking bay and stuff like that. Now, okay, this needs to be pushed and extended a bit. There we go. Now, I didn't know what package they put me on. I found it highly unlikely that they put me on the premium package, because hey, they're giving me this for free. They're not going to spend even more money giving me it for free. But I didn't know, and it was worth thinking and considering. However, I think that I've had enough of these deliveries now that I don't think I'm on the premium package, because I had, for this episode, it involved 3 deliveries, 3 boxes over the last month and a half. So I've not received any of the extras. I suspect I'm not on the premium package, which is fine. I'm not going to complain. Don't get me wrong. I am not going to complain at all. It is very, very kind of Deag to send me these. They absolutely don't have to, but they are, and I love them for it. I'm very, very grateful. There we go. That goes in there. This is fairly straightforward. But it's a shame that I'm not on the premium one, but I'm not going to cry about it. Because you know what? The premium one is basically sort of landing hangar vehicles and dudes, which is fine, and boxes and crates. But the only thing I was really was keen to get is the pilot figure, because it always makes it look more alive when you've got a dude in the pilot seat. However, it's not the end of the world, because you know what's going to happen. You know exactly what's going to happen when this is done and dusted, or as the months go by. Where's the hole for that? It's very weird. There we go. It's a very tight fit. These are very, very fiddly. As time goes by, somebody on Shapeways will create a 3D print that you can buy or download of the pilot, and that's fine. I'm happy to do that if that's the case. If I'm not on the premium package, I don't mind. So we shall see. I mean, it might be I get them later on. I'm sure it was like it said, though, by the time you get your 5th delivery. And I think I've had my 5th delivery now, so yeah, not to worry. F needs to go that way with the little Griebels there. With this piece, the final F piece, keep a note of the little sort of nodules on the tube. They need to be at the top end, this end here. So make sure you get this one the right way around, because it would fit either way. There's only 2 stalks that go into holes, so it would fit either way. I might need to get the tweezers in a minute. I might not. Now I'm trying something new here as well. I've got my new camera, my iPhone 7 Plus, and I can have it further away because it means I can do stuff like this. I can zoom in, yes, and you can see things. I've got the telephoto lens, so if I need to get closer and personal, which I should have really done for that whole section really when I was putting all those in, I can do that without messing around. So right, so that is done. I've got no parts left. There we go. So that concludes issue 11. And so on to issue 12. Don't get a lot of parts, and so far we haven't had any screwing to do in this episode, but we don't get a lot of parts. Now, I have to say, I could be wrong, but I'm getting the impression that all the stuff we're doing here, like I said earlier on, is just going to disappear. It's going to be completely invisible. Once you've built this, that's going to be sealed up. You're not going to see in there. You're not going to see down there. You could be forgiven for just not bothering to build these bits, but you're paying for them, you may as well. And you've always got the option, I suppose, that you could have a cutaway effect where you can see inside the engine. You could build the engine components and have them separately outside on display, like aircraft models sometimes have the aircraft and then a jet engine. Sometimes modelers do that. So there is that option. You can have some fun with it, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. We need to start off with the Alluvial Damper and the hydraulic adjusters. I love all the way these things have got names. So first of all, the Alluvial Damper, which is this bit. Yes, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. Hang on. There we go. The Alluvial Damper is this bit. Has a mounting hole that matches the pin projecting from the engine casing. Make sure it's this way around. That goes here. This pin here. Zip. There we go. That can go in there like that, to see. Yeah, none of this stuff in the studio model. They just built something and then all this was retrofitted by, you know, the blueprint books and type things. Press the parts together firmly. But it is impressive the way they've done that. Looks like a, if I didn't know better, that looks like a toothpaste tube or a glue tube top. But of course, this wouldn't have existed on the real model. Align the two pins on one of the hydraulic adjusters with these two holes, making sure the adjuster is the right way round. The adjuster is that way. Now, they say these are the hydraulic adjusters, and I have to say, that is a hydraulic ram. Now, obviously, I get the impression these have just been made up for this build. They don't actually, you know, the real ILM builders wouldn't have used these. But I like the fact they made it like a hydraulic piston. That's quite good. So it needs to be that way around, and the thin part of the piston there. So that goes in here. Again, it is a massive shame to never see any of this, but like I say, there's always potential there if you want to be if you're the kind of person that does cross-sectional models, or you know, you could have one of these exposed. There's various ways of doing it. There is a thing for people to make models of aircraft and have an engine on a little stand next to it. You know, you'll often see like a such and such an aircraft, and then on the stand next to it a Pratt and Whitney or something, if it's like a Lightning or something like that, especially when it was early jet engines and the jet engine was the focus. Press the hydraulic adjuster firmly into the holes. Pressing firmly now, sir. Fit the second hydraulic adjuster. I've done that already. The interior of the engine should look like this. I'm liking this zoomed in view. It's not the best picture quality because it just dropped it a little bit, but you know what? It means you can see what I'm doing without me having to move the camera and big hands and all that. Now, what's next? Take the remaining 7 parts provided. A little bit of 7 parts. Fit the rear cone to the turbo generator body, lining up the indicated notch with the projecting lug. Who are you calling a lug? So there's the notch, indicated notch, with the projecting lug. There is the lug, notch. That should go like that. Oops. If I'm lined it up, that goes in there. There we go, ka-chick, into place. That's that bit. Press the parts firmly together. Done that now. Align the 2 pins on the turbo impeller with the matching holes in the turbo generator. When do I get to make a turbo encabulator? That's what I want to know. Right, so this blobby bit up here, 2 holes, looks like a Viking helmet. Dovahkiin, but never mind. Copyright, not going to sing that. That goes in there. This one is going to be a tight fit. That. Tight fit, come on. I will get it in. I will get it in. I don't want to press down it too hard and break anything. Hang on. Do we have 2 different size holes here? I don't know. Let's try it that way around. I can't imagine this will be chiral. It's not quite. I'm really conscious of something because these are thin and flimsy. That's a very, very tight fit. It doesn't, I'm not kidding when it says press the parts firmly together. You're not kidding, son, you're not kidding. Now, there is, of course, on this, you might see here, there is here a big seam line and a nub on either side. A couple of nubs. Now, when it comes to painting this at the end, if I was going to have an open engine model, I would, of course, come back and take all these nubs and seam lines out. However, you're not going to see any of this, so there's no benefit to me at all doing that and cleaning it up now, because it's never going to be seen by anybody alive ever. So we won't worry about that right now. I might change my mind. We'll see. We'll see. I need to find out what it's like when it's finished. You never know. Fit one of the impeller blades into the rectangular socket in the impeller. That way around. It needs to match this. Fitting blade in socket now, sir. Try not to break it. If I do break it, it's not the end of the world. But it would suck. Ooh, making me nervous now. I'm always getting nervous at things like this. There we go, do it that way around, it's a bit easier. A little bit of that, and a little bit of, how's your father? There we go. Oh, no. Yep, there we go. That's bent. Fantastic. It's almost snapped off, but not quite. Let's try not to do that. And we'll have to apply some glue to fix it, or maybe it won't need it, I don't know. There's just nothing to grip. There's no way to grip this. And we're back. There we go, it's in now. I had to change my glasses and do some swearing and very carefully shave a little tiny bit of paint off the nub that goes into the hole. Very tight fit. I did bend one of these, but it didn't snap, so as long as I don't touch them, I'm going to be fine, because once it goes in here, it's never going to be touched ever again. So yeah, that was fun. Be very, very careful with these. They're very, very delicate. That one's not actually straight. They're very, very tough to get in, and they're very delicate. The next step is the fishing chamber has a keyhole shaped mounting hole. Keyhole shaped mounting hole, which is somewhere. Oh, on this side. Special. There we go. A little bit of a nub. It's the pin on the turbo and air generator. That goes in there. However, the turbo generator doesn't necessarily want to fit in there without some fight. There we go. Now, it should be noted that this bit down here has just gone ping, and it's not lining up. That's very strange. I'm guessing it's supposed to be in the middle, but doesn't seem to want to be. Oh well, it's in. That's all I can say, it's in. Yeah, it doesn't quite line up horizontal and vertical, but that's as far as it's going to give me. I ain't going to push it no more than that, and you're never going to see this. Fix the 2 pins on the fishing chamber, so we've got this same thing again here, where this is going to go like that. In there, like that. Do you see? Oh, on camera, dear. I'll zoom in and then do it all off camera. Hello! There's the 2 pins, 2 holes. Now, if you're used to watching my very good friend Chris over at Gross Models doing this build at the same time, you'll notice that I have a lot more fumbling and fussing and messing around and general flailing. However, I should say, I've always said that building's not my strong point, and let's be honest, Chris is an horologist. He repairs and builds clocks and watches for a living, so he's used to working with tiny little components. So I do envy his ability to do that. Right, so that's what we have now. And it says, that completes this stage. You will complete the engine internals and install them on the next stage. And install is misspelled. Okay, issue 13 now. It's going to get a bit more fiddly diddly on this one because we have more parts. We have a blub and some wirings and a clear part. We're making the actual engine nozzle at the back. And we have more little tiny fiddly bits here. So the first thing we need to do in issue 13 is Griebel time. So we've got to do these Griebels, move these out of the way. No, to keep those. Got to put Griebels on here. We've done this already. Right, so there we go. Griebels are done. Zoom out. What's next? Okay, I'll zoom back in again. Next we have this little widget to do here, and we have our first clear part. We need a knife of cutting, being careful not to scratch the clear part. Now this is going to be, they call it a thrust diffuser, but really it's a lighting diffuser. Right, that's going to be, fit the 4 pins, this is the thrust diffuser, fit the 4 pins of the thrust diffuser into the hole in the lens. And it's not really clear, but it does suggest that the flat side of the lens here is sticking, there's a flat side, let me see if I can pick it up. There's a flat side, and there's they're both flat sides. There's a flat side here, and this one's got a little recess in it, so I'm going to guess this sits into the recess like that. And it wants how does it want this now? Okay, it wants this little notch here at the bottom, on camera dear, this little notch at the bottom, and this receptacle here at the top, I think, that way around, and that way around, so it's going to be like that. That makes sense. There we go, that fits together. Now of course when it comes to painting, when I do the engines, I don't want to paint this bit. Yeah, because this is where the light comes through the end. So when it comes to painting, we will need to disassemble these engines and take these parts apart. So I can either, at the very least, mask this off and paint this part, or take this part off if I can do it without damaging it, and paint this and leave this unpainted. It may also be, depending on what this looks like, we'll decide at the end. When it comes to the crunch, what I might decide to do is actually sand this clear part. And you might be wondering why, and that's because I did this on a Federation runabout once. With just a clear part it might look fantastic, but if you sand it, it diffuses the light and makes it more of a uniform glow rather than just having a light bulb in the middle that you can physically see. So we'll see how it comes out. We might need to do that. Now, align the assembly with a thrust nozzle. Thrust nozzle has a little key there, and there's the lock there, and this needs to go that way around. Now you can't do much about these ejector pin marks, they're just kind of there. You can't do much with clear plastic. That's going to go in there. Get in. I've got to line this up, and nope. And there we go. And what I will do as well is, obviously I'm getting fingerprints all over this. When it comes to painting, I'll need to take this apart anyway, just to clean the clear part. I could put gloves on right now, but this just seems a lot of work for just putting a clear part in. Right, we're in. However, I got it in, and I pushed it down, and it stopped. And I thought, oh, we're in. And I gave it one last little push, and it went snap really violently, and then went down a bit further. And then it locked into place. So just be aware, when it feels like it's in, you might need to press it a bit more. So I don't know if you can see these little veins here need to line up with this raised edge here. That's what you're aiming for. Now when you first push it in, they won't be all the way along there. They'll be a bit further back, so you need to push it a bit more, and it will go crack, but it will go in. There are little pins that line up with those little holes around the edge. Ooh, that was tight fit. That I needed both hands, and I couldn't really do it on camera. I needed to, so it's easy when you're not doing it on camera. Right, what's next? Uncoil the lead attached to the LED. Now this is where it's going to go horrible. I hate doing these. I'm no good at lighting. I tend to break wires and destroy bulbs and things. Right, uncoil it. Roger, uncoiling now, sir. So just be aware when you're pushing that bit in, it does go in with an almighty crack. And you feel like you broke it. I don't know if you're able to get it out again, that's the thing. Now we need to fit the tip of the LED into the hole in the reflector, or the shiny boobs as I like to call it. Now I've seen Chris do this, and it's a very tight fit, but it goes in and that's it, you're in. Now what it wants you to do, I'm going to turn it around so it's straight this way, so it's got a flatness to it, so I'm keeping an eye on this little notch here, and I've got it flat, and it says carefully bend the wire down to follow the curve of the reflector on the opposite side of the arrow notch. So there's the arrow notch, or the notch. You need to bend this back now, and this is what gave Chris pause for thought, and I don't like doing it. This is basically a spade connector attached to the bulb, and you need to push it flat there, like that. Now I hate doing that because you think you're going to break it, and it's entirely possible I probably have. But you've got to do it, so you do it. Right, there we go. So that is now flush and flat. Looks like a fireman's helmet. It says fit the plug through this hole in the assembly from stage 12, which is that one. This is the assembly from stage 12, and it needs to go through the hole here. There we go. Pulling the lead through inside the engine detail towards the second hole indicated by the arrow, which is that one. So you pull it towards the second hole. Turn the page. Fit the plug down through the hole from step 12. It's not the hole from step 12, but yeah, it's the hole. Right. Feed the wire through until the reflector is in position. But you don't really show what the position is until the reflector is in position, but there's not. I see, I think I know what it means. Now Chris did have some issues with this. It was a really tight fit, and I don't think he enjoyed putting this bit in, so yeah. So is that in position? I assume that's in position there, so we need to get that a little bit tighter, just a little bit tighter. You were matron. So I'm assuming that needs to go there. It's a bit weird the way it just kind of sticks out there though. Fit the plug through the hole in the engine casing you finished off on page 10. That's this one. So that needs to go through there. Zip. Be careful not to trap the wire. Line up the two mounting posts on the engine detail with the pins on the casing. This is where it gets tricky now. We don't want to trap the wire. We need to make sure the wire is not anywhere near the mounting holes, which it is not. I hope, for the love of baby Jeebus, I hope it is not anywhere near a mounting hole. Unfortunately, the pin is also nowhere near a mounting hole. Oh, fudge. Right, that needs to go. Pull this a bit more taut, I think. That needs to go there. This needs to come up a little bit away from thole. If I can lock that in there. I'm doing it off camera. I do apologise. I keep forgetting I'm zoomed in. Oh, this is not easy. This needs to be pulled more taut. So there we go. Right, there we go. That can go in there. And this is the thing with this, is one of the reasons I don't like LEDs and lighting and stuff, is you never know if you've messed up a circuit or a wire until it's actually too late and everything's in place and built in, and you just, if you've trapped or cut a wire, you're just screwed, quite simply. You're completely screwed. So that needs to go in there. Fit the curved end of the reflector into this slot into the casing. The end with the arrow notch, the notch here, should be at the top. You can push that down. Now, I've had an easier time of this than Chris did, but he had a problem with getting this in to fit. But I think that was because he didn't straight off bend that wire back. You know where I bent that the spade connector back? He didn't do that, I don't think, straight. He was a bit cautious about that, and it's only thanks to watching his that I was able to know I could just go ahead and bend it. It didn't really matter. So, yeah, so just make sure you just do all the bending. That went in there. Next page, that was. I thought this would take a lot longer than it did. It probably did take a lot longer. Did for you guys anyway. Line up the two halves of the engine. What's this bit for? I see. Zwei Halfen die Enginegefahrten. This is going to go together, making sure the reflector goes into the magical slot. Remember these bits that we looked at, and that whole thing there? You say goodbye to that. And it's a tale from Liverpool, never to return. There you go. So that is now done. So all that hard work for that interior bit is just gone. You can't see it. So if you're going to build this yourself, you could if you wanted to. Well, you can't really, because you need that I mean, the beauty that you can get it apart again. Let me get my magical spudging tool. I do recommend you get yourself a spudger of some sort. I'm using metal sculpting tools with a rounded edge. But I do recommend if you're building this, get yourself some sort of spudger so you can spudge things apart. When you try and get things apart, don't pull them. Get the spudger in and just twist it a little bit and work your way along the edge like that. If you get a tight fit somewhere, just go in, twist, twist, twist. Go slowly and you'll gradually pull them apart. There you go. So I can get that in there. I can twist a bit, twist a little bit, twist a little bit. That's how you separate things like that. Yeah, so you would need to build, at the very least, this. I mean, you need to put that in and you need to have this wire going through. So you don't need to build this bit. I'm off camera again now. You don't need this bit. You don't need, I mean, you need this in place. You don't need this bit. You need this bit. So if you aren't doing an open engine build, you could ignore those bit, that and this, and just have that piece in. But I suppose having this bit stops this bit falling down. Yeah, this bit probably used for something. Okay, you can miss this bit out. I'll shut up now. Let's get it back together again. You don't have to put those in. It is a shame, but then again, I say it does just give you more options than if you want to do open engine type stuff. So that goes there. That goes on here. Oh, no, not yet. This goes on the butt end. Align the thrust nozzle. Thrust nozzle. Align the thrust nozzle with the engine assembly, making sure the arrowed notch, which was where? There. The arrowed notch, it says arrowed because it's arrowed on the thing. Arrowed notch, and the rib, that one, line up. So there you go, that holds that in place. This slides over the end. Quite a firm grip. This goes on the end here with its tapered end outwards. Yes, it sits wider at the top than it is at the bottom, so make sure it's tapered end that way. Wide end in the middle. Squish these together. There we go. I do like the way they're held together with just like rings and things. Rings and things, and that's quite a tight fit. There we go. I'm going to push this down. Oh, there we go. That's never coming off ever again. Yeah. So that is now on. Now it does leave you with a big honking seam line here, of course. But we're not going to worry about that, because part of it could be explained as the edge of that piece there, and the edge of this piece here, and the edge of this piece here. When it comes to the end, before we do the painting, what I may well do is clean up some of the seam lines. Like these edges here can be explained by these raised details. Same there. These bits here, there's nothing there. So what I may well do, say there and there and there and there and there, is fill those. But what I'd have to do first, of course, is make sure that when it comes to this, I paint these interior parts first in there without the clear bit, put it all together, then I can mask off inside there, and there we go. And as for this grey and black, I'm pretty sure that's not on the real filming miniature. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't remember being grey and black. Now, one last thing I need to do is test the light. So let me go and get the lighting thing from the other issue and we'll test it. So here we go, the lighting unit from when we built R2, and we're just going to pop this in, see if it works. Now I don't know which way around this is supposed to go. I think it's that way. Oh, I can see a glow. Oh, that's, oh wow, I looked at the bulb. I know it won't really come out on camera because it kind of diffuses the colour down a bit, but that is incredibly bright. That is incredibly bright. I just blinded myself. That is really, really bright. And that looks really good. Now, it obviously looks, you won't see on camera because it just goes from red to almost white and yellow. On here, looking at it, if I must, oh God, I've got blobs in my eyes now. There is obviously a very bright spot in the middle, and it's red around the edge, and it's kind of obvious that it's a bulb. So I would have the option later on of sanding that. But we'll figure that out later on. I'll turn that off anyway, save some battery life. I really can't see now. All I've got is a lot of blobs here. Right, I'm looking at this bit here, it's like blobs, red blobs. Oh, wow. That is really impressive. That is really bright. Cool, so that is that bit done. This concludes issue 13. And so issue 14. Now, not many parts for this one, but you can see the tidy box has come back. Yes, why? Because Yeah, working on the wing again. Yeah, we've got screwing to do. We're doing some screwing. Yes. Right, so we're going to be assembling the wing. Because we've got th engine and we've got th wing. We've got some bits and brackets to put in. So not, I was going to say particularly complicated, but it does have like, oh God, many pages. I think it might not be as complicated as that, but let's find out. Right, so let's see what we have. So we have plastic bits, some metal bits, wires, more wires. Oh dear. Some little plasticky bits. Now we do get 4 lots of screws. We have these, and these. Now you can see here in my little tiny box, if I open the lid, I've numbered the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got what were the XW02, 03, 04, and 05. So what I've done is I've just decanted them into here for now, keep them separate. And when I've finished any spares, I'll just dump back in there. I can't remember, these are all kind of random. I'll just dump them back in there. But I just wanted to keep them separate, but not have them sitting around on the desk. So there we go. So what's the first step? So the first step is to move all of this out of the way. All of this. We need the magical wing of happiness. And align the inner wing frame this way around. The inner wing frame is this puppy here, and it suggests you want it this way, and I'm going to guess it goes here like this. You see, it's all white, it's very pretty, and fit onto the recess between the outer wing frame and the engine mount. Align the engine mount brace this way around, which is that way. Hopefully that's on camera. Yes, this way around, and fit into the recess in the engine mount so that its outer end lies on top of the inner wing frame, thusly, like a glove. Secure the inner wing frame with XW04 screw in this hole. So I've got my rather fantastic screwdriver that I got with my Build the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I want a number 4 screw. It's magnetic, which is brilliant. Now, a bit of an update for you. Here's an update for you. Which one do I want? This one. Oh, of course, by the way, don't forget, I'm not doing these massively tight. Not right now, because I may need to take all these apart again. So I'm not going too crazy tight with these. Just tight enough for now. I can always come back later on and... I mean, I'll do them tight, but I don't want to break any plastic. Yes, so... Millennium Falcon. The DeAgostini Millennium Falcon. An X04 screw again. If you remember, it's where the 6th episode joke came from. I know. This hole and this hole we want, I think. Yes. I never got past episode 6 because I filmed the cockpit. And I started to work on the interior, but the interior was so not great that it sapped my interest and I just stopped. And then, of course, the other problem was I didn't have the space. It wouldn't fit on this desk. I realised I'd have to get a bigger workspace, and that hasn't happened as yet. So... it's sat there collecting in a cupboard for like the last 4 years, and I can now announce. People have always made a joke saying I've never got past episode 6. People are always asking, when are you going to get on with the Diag Falcon? Now you're doing the Diag X-Wing, which I have to admit also probably won't really fit on this desk. What I'll have to do is, every time when this gets really big, what I'll have to do is move all my Hobby Zone modules off the desk to give me the space. You can't see them in this shot, but they're there. So yeah, we want 2 XW03 screws into these holes, that one and that one. So people always say, when are you going to do the next episode? Well, I can now tell you, 100% confirmed, that the next episode of the Build the DeAgostini Millennium Falcon, where I built up to the cockpit, will be never. I can now put a coffin in that nail, and I can tell you that because I've sold it to my very good friend Busby, who contacted me and said, is it still possible to get the DeAgostini Falcon still around? Because he's decided he wants to build it. He said, can you still get it? Is it still available? And I said, yeah, but why don't you just buy mine? And he went, okay. So I did him a good deal. So yes, my friend Busby, 4 XW05 screws into these 4 holes. That one, that one, that one, that one. Okay. So yes, my good friend Busby is now the proud owner of a DeAgostini Millennium Falcon where only the cockpit has been assembled, and there was a little bit of milliput to put inside the cockpit tube for weathering later on. So yeah, sadly there will be no episode 7, I'm afraid. I always said it was always a case of it was just, I collected all the issues. They were all in a cupboard piling up. It was always an issue of when I get somewhere bigger to have as a workbench. That's not going to happen, unfortunately, not anytime soon. I used to joke and say, the day I get my garage knocked down and rebuilt as a modelling studio, that kind of was a joke, but it was also true, because that's the only alternative I've got at the minute. The only option I've got right now for a bigger workspace is to knock the garage down and rebuild it. But you know what? That's not something I can afford anytime soon. You're talking thousands and thousands of pounds, and this, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, it was never going to get done, basically. I decided it may as well go to a good forever home. Right, secure the engine mount brace by driving XWO2 screws into these 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. 2. That's that in. Turn the wing over. God, it's getting heavy now, this flapping around. And take the sublight engine assembly. Fix the plug on the engine wiring down through this hole in the engine mount. Down through this hole here, like that. Just say lovely. Feed the wire through the hole so you can fit the pin and fixing lug on the engine into the matching holes in the engine mount. Lug. Pin. It's not even on camera, sorry. Lug. At this episode, I know I'm just watching something back. I've got some focus issues and stuff. It is a new camera for me. I'm trying to feel my way through, so bear with me. Got the lug and pin. That's a very, very loose fit. Oh, it came out. Hang on. It's quite tricky, this. It's a big, heavy piece of engine held in place by one little tiny point. Put that there. We'll get a screw in there. Yeah, get in, you little tinker. There we go, that's in. Now I don't want to force it too much. Finger tight, there you go. Flood the cowling. Blimey. This is getting intense now. And then by intense I mean really heavy. There we go. Right. Use the tip of your screwdriver to help you route the wire from the engine round the posts moulded into the engine mount. I'll use my spudger, it's smaller. So this wire needs to go like, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see, hang on. Okay, so let's see if we can get this round. So it needs to go, where does it need to go? It needs to go around here like this. I've got to be very careful here not to damage or break these wires while I'm trying to spudge them into gaps. That's in there, so I've got to be very gentle. I don't want to force or break any little filaments. It needs to go around here, around this post over here, like this, you see. It's kind of higgledy-piggledy, but it works. I'm sure it works. I'm also trying to look around this part and not get in the way of the camera, which makes things also a little more tricky. Trust me, this looks complicated sometimes, but it's a lot easier when you've not got a camera to worry about. Oops, daisy. Let's get that behind there. Jam it in. Jam in. Stay in. Little tinker. Right. And there we go. We've wired it in now. Now it's not brilliant. Some of these little grips that are supposed to hold the wires in place, they don't really grip them. Like this bit here, I can't get this to stay in here, and if I try and push it anymore, it's going to mangle the wire completely. Yes, that's about as good as I can get, I'm afraid, at the moment. Now what I need to do next is close these off. So once that's been, just double check there's nothing else I need to do. Nope. Right, so the next thing is to put the wing root cover. Make sure you don't trap the wiring emerging from the wing. I shall try not to. Yeah, that just does not want to lock into place there at all, but hey, what can you do? That goes on there, like that, you see. I'm guessing as long as it doesn't sort of get out into here anywhere where the mechanisms for wing movements and things are, we shall be all right. I need 3 XW02 screws, and these are the last 3. Now, strangely enough, they haven't given me loads of extra screws here. They've actually given me, of these 02 screws, just enough. Now, I'm not going to do these super tight straight away. I'm just going to do them very loosely finger tight to start with, because I'm doing into plastic here, not into metal. So I want to do them all medium tightness. And then what I can do is work my way around and tighten them up more properly. There we go. Now, you don't want to go too crazy with screws on this, especially when you screw into plastic, because you don't want to knacker the plastic. You don't want to go crack and suddenly break the plastic component, because that would just be sadness. So that's on there. Remove the plugs from the sprue and press one into each of the 3 holes from step 25 to conceal the sprue heads. That's these little 3 chaps here. It's like a little tardigrade or worm or something. And these just need to sit in the holes. So I guess they're just a friction fit, or they're a not at all fit. Oh yeah, they're going. That's not bad. They're quite a snug little fit. Push them with the thumbnail. Oh yeah, they're quite snug actually. That's quite good. Me. This is going to be a very long episode, so I do apologise. Complete this stage, the wing should now look like this. Yes, it does. I don't trust this wiring not to explode outwards, but we'll see. So there we go, that's that bit done. Right, on to issue 15. On to issue 15. Now I've got lots of more little tiny fiddly bits here. Now, one thing I'd recommend here, in the magazine it shows you all the parts laid out. I would recommend just laying them out on your desk, because these 4 and these 4 are slightly different. The way to tell them apart is, you won't really see, let me zoom in a bit for you, hang on. On these, this end points down towards the desk, and on these, the end points up away from the desk. And you'll see here, hopefully you'll see, these 4, the end piece here is pointing up, and here it's pointing down towards the desk. So just keep that in mind. It probably won't be the end of the world, but it just helps keep things in order. Now, interestingly, I think you'll find that this is part of a model of an engine from something like a truck or a plane, but we'll get to that in a minute. So it's some silvery bits today. Let me have a look. What's the first step? What we need to do first of all is put the power unit 2 halves together. That's fairly straightforward, nothing too complicated there. There you go. Press the parts firmly together. I'll need some tweezers now. It says, take the shortest of the pipes and fit the pins on the ends to the 2 holes in the upper half of the power unit input. That is here. Chew on that. There you go. That's that in. Again, I'm hoping I don't need to actually glue any of these in. They should be fairly sturdy. And again, you will notice some honking great seam lines on some of these parts. Because they're going to be interior and you're never actually going to see them, I'm not going to worry too much. If I do decide to expose any of the engine parts, like I said, I'll clean those ones up. Take the thick pipe and align the D-shaped lug on the end with the matching hole in the upper half of the power unit, which is there. That one, which is the other way around, that way. We have a D-shaped thing on the end here. D for door. That goes in there like that. Just so lovely. With the hole, there's a hole there, hole on either side. Fit the end into the hole from step 7. There, like that, you see. It needs to go into the hole there. It's tricky to push it in because it's at a funny angle. There you go, and that needs to, oh, I see now. This needs to go, these 2 little tabs here need to go into these little holes here, you see? Like that, you see? Delightful. I do the other manifold, if I can pick it up without throwing it across the room, which is always a winner. Now hang on, this manifold piece is sticking all the way through. That's not very good, is it? It's clearly not correct. Right, let's not have that sticking all the way through. We'll put that in a minute. So we'll get this bit on first, which is there. So we'll get the two parts into the engine block first, then we'll push these together at the same time. Oh, giving me nonsense, not appreciating nonsense, thank you very much. Right, you need to go in there like that. There you go, you can go in thole. Then what we can do is push those two together, hopefully. Because they both actually, if you give them the chance, they'll just go straight through to the side, which is not ideal. Which is not, I think, how this is meant to be. So we'll just hope that stays in place. I can see myself having to put some glue on here, to be honest, because this might not be the most secure of attachments. It's very strange. And there we have it, the finished engine. Now I apologise I didn't show you any of that process. However, what I can do is advise you on that process. This process is an absolute arse. Nothing fits. None of these pipes stay in. Well, that top pipe there will stay in place. That one will fall out constantly. These pieces are a pig to get into the side part here, and you have to get them the right way around, and then they won't stay in place. They just won't stay in place. So you are going to have to glue these pipes. It's just the way it is. They're not going to stay in place. I would recommend you have these two side panels here that these pipes come out of. They snap onto the main body here. Put these two panels on first, then apply these pipes and attach them to that, and then put those pipes on afterwards. You will need to glue it. Now, if you want to use a glue, this X-Wing is made from ABS plastic. Now, ABS plastic has very low or no polystyrene content, so typical glues like Tamiya Extra Thin will not work. They won't stick. Plus, this is already painted, which is a bit of a pain. But regardless, Tamiya Extra Thin will not work. Polystyrene cements will not work. You need to use something that will glue ABS plastic. I prefer to use Plastic Magic from Deluxe. You can get it anywhere. It's in my Amazon store, link in the description below this video. But yeah, Plastic Magic, it works on anything including ABS. You can use it for polystyrene as well. It's like Tamiya Extra Thin but even thinner. Other glues are available. There's Tamiya's ABS glue, but that's a really thick stodgy glue, and that's the last thing you want. What I would recommend is, like I said, put these two flat panels on here first, then apply each pipe one by one, get it in place, glue it in, and then do the next one. I would recommend going from the front that way backwards. Don't start at this end, because each one of these pipes goes underneath. So start with this one first, then that one, then that one, then that one. Get them in, glue them here, glue them at the base, and they'll stay in place. Because it's only a thin layer of whatever silver paint they've used, this stuff can burn through the paint quite quickly and glue the plastic quite quickly. It does stick very quick. Normally it takes ages for this to set, but this has just gone and glued, so I don't know how. But yeah, get that plate on first, then work from this end back. So start there, and then that one, then that one, then that one. Otherwise you're making yourself a whole load of nightmares. It is fiddly. I tried it without glue, I really did. No, I mean, I tried filming it as well, but I couldn't because I had to get really close up and I was fiddling and fumbling. You can't use tweezers because it's pipes and they spin round. So in the end, you will just have to do a bit of swearing and a bit of gluing. Now, the real pain about this is, as you'll find out all the next bit of the process, none of it's going to be visible when the model's finished. But hey, we'll persevere. Anyway, let's crack on. So this is the end of issue 15. Let's crack on to issue 16. So on to our final issue today, and that is issue 16, and we've got these small number of parts and some screws in there, some number 1 and 2 screws, and that's it. Because I think we're going to get everything finished on the wing today, if not all of it, most of it. So what are we going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need this little doohickey here, and I might zoom in for the small bits. And we're going to need, what are we going to need? This little do. Let me zoom in for you, 1 second. There it's better. So we've got this little blib long here, which you can't really see, and we've got this little fellow here. And it says that there's a little nub there. Let me move these out the way. Little nub there, that needs to go through this little, I think, hang on, wait, what? Fit the two parts of the long oval detail together, then press the 2 pins on the back to the recess in the trailing edge support. Let me just... Right, so we have this piece here with the nub at that end. On camera, dear. We have this piece here with the nub at the right-hand end. And it needs to go through that hole, like that. Now, I know some people have actually said, why am I so sort of fumbly with this and, you know, having trouble doing stuff. It's because I'm actually looking from a long way away, because of where the camera is. I don't know how tight this is supposed to go in place. It's not quite straight. Is it supposed to push in further than that? Doesn't feel like it wants to, but it looks like it should. That seems a bit better. There we go. It's a little tiny bit better. Right, so this needs to go on to the recess on the trailing edge support, which is this bit, and that needs to go into there. The 2 pins that pop through need to go onto there, like that. There. There's only a little bit of a Griebel detail, so it's not the end of the world if it's not 100% fitting properly. It's very loose as well, which is weird. That might be something later on that needs to have the crap glued out of it, perhaps. There we go, that's on. Yes, fine. I'm tempted to glue that now, to be honest, because it is just a Griebel. I'm going to glue it now. It's just a tiny Griebel. I don't think it's going to affect anything major. I'm not going to have to adjust it. So again, because it's ABS, we're using the Plastic Magic. It's very, very thin glue. It's like Tamiya Extra Thin, but thinner. Next, we have press the pin on the horseshoe-shaped detail. That will be this little fellow here. Press the pin on the horseshoe trailing edge support. It only goes one way because it's a horseshoe shaped, more like a archway doorway shape, but there you go. Right, so next, align the 2 pins on the back of the trailing edge support with the holes in the back of the engine mount, which is here. It needs to go in place, like, press it firmly into place on camera. I'll zoom out because you need to see this bit, not close up. There we go. So this needs to go in here like this, you'll see. Line those 2 pins up, push them home, done, done. Turn the page, Dick Whittington. Now what it says, this is all really small and you're going to struggle to see any of this. Align the D-shaped lug on one of the details with the matching hole in the left detail. Okay, so you've got a D-shaped lug there, which you probably can't see. And on the little tiny piece, there's also a D-shaped lug peg, which needs to go in like that. And you probably can't see any of this. I do apologise. It's very small and tiny. That's in there like that. And on this one, do the same again. That is that way. Yes, if I do ever appear cack-handed, I'm not actually that bad. It's just I'm having to be a long way away from this to do it and have it all captured on film. So it's not very easy for me to see what I'm doing. Is that in? There we go, that's in properly. Fit the rectangular lug on the left detail to the matching lug on the bulkhead. So this needs to go on that side with these little holes pointing towards the inside. It's very confusing. It says keep this on the left and then it goes on the other side. Okay, that makes literally no sense, but never mind. Very tight fit, very tight fit. But it will go in. Very conscious of not breaking anything because there's no spares and repairs. Right, align the large D-shaped hole with the matching lug on the end of the input power unit. The power unit, even not input power unit. That goes there, like that. You see? This will make you sad. All the work I've done on this, you'll have a moment of sadness in a bit. Press the parts firmly together like this. That's the wrong way around. These bits on the inside, like that. There we go. It's a loose fit. It doesn't fit together very firmly, but it's fine. got a bit of wiggle to it. That goes like that. Next page. Now we have tubes. Oh, dear Lord, we have tubes. And it's silver tubes, so I'm going to guess I'm going to have to glue these again. Buh. Right, now we have a list here. I shall align these and sort them out, and I'll come back to you back in a second. Okay, so that's those pipes done. A little bit fiddly, but it got in the end. Now, a word of warning, I did screw up. These two pipes here, you'll see, they're not attached to this. They don't go into the hole. It's because parts C, D, E and F all look very similar, and I got the two that are supposed to go on the top on the bottom. And what I found was they were far too long. They were sticking out. The ones that go into the bottom holes on these little sticky out bits here were far too long. They were going off into space. So I thought, I'll just trim them down. No, what I'd actually got was the ones that go on the top here are supposed to be long. The ones that go on the side here are supposed to be short. So if you suddenly find that the ones that are supposed to go into the bottom of these little sort of lantern shaped things are too long, don't trim them back like I did. Just swap them around with the one on top. Yeah, it's kind of confusing because they're all very similar and they're not really... It's not very clear. I have to say, the pipes, what you get on the model when you put the pipes in, does not actually fully match what's in the magazine. Some of the pipes at the side here, this one crosses over that one. It doesn't show that in the magazine. It shows something completely different. So it is a little confusing. Take your time. Don't do like me and mess it up. At least I know for the next time now. Yeah, but it's not exactly solidly clear in the magazine, and the pipes don't quite match. So just so you know. Anyway, what's next? Next, we have to put the copper thing together. This is the two halves of the power converter. I have to go to Toshi Station to get one of these. I was going to go to Toshi Station and get a new power converter. So this needs to go together thusly. Now you will see on this, there's all kinds of nubs and seam lines, but you know what? I've looked ahead to see what happens. I don't care, because it's quite... Oh wow, it's not going to go in, is it? Come across a few tolerance issues here and there with these parts today. You know, I had to widen a few holes and get paint off a few others. That hole there is not quite wanting to let anything in. Let's give it a helping hand. But yes, I've not really bothered with any of the seam lines, and you'll see why in a moment. It's quite disheartening really in a way, but hey, it's because you've got the choice to do things later on. Push those together, so you've got big seam line right down the middle. Not going to bother about that. Take the power unit, attach it on to here. So we have a big hole here for this bit, and a little hole here for that. So that goes on there like that. That sits on top of there. I need to be on camera, dear. Be on camera, darling. It's always the best. That's very loose. It's very, very loose. Don't know if there'll be something to hold that in place later on, but let's not worry about it for now. Okay, let's see if we can figure this out without messing this one up then, shall we? It needs to go from this hole here into the top of these little lantern-y things. So that should be, not that one, that one. So that goes in there from the top and goes into the top of that lantern thing. So let's just put it in the lantern thing first. And that goes in there like that. That's a fairly sturdy fit. It's not going to pop out, I don't think. I don't want to glue really any of this too much because I don't know what's going to happen with it. So we'll not worry about gluing everything into this just yet. The top of the lantern thing and into there. There we go, that's those in. Lovely. Fit the power converter assembly through the large rectangular opening in the engine mount. So that, which way? What? Right, okay, managed to get it in the end. A handy tip for you, ignore that image. that image is, you can't get it in very easily at all from that direction. I really wouldn't bother, because all that's going to happen is the gold bit's going to keep popping off. What I would suggest is, for sake of ease, take the gold piece and this bit on the front off. Make sure you haven't glued any of these tubes. Pop this off, stick the silver piece in underneath and screw it in place. There's a screw there that holds it in. Then simply attach this part with the grey bit on the front, and then just feed all the pipes into all the relevant holes, and then you are good to go. Now what's next? Next we have to bring back a piece from stage 10, which is the gyro cone assembly. Aha, this bit that we made a million years ago. This goes into this little groove here, like that, you see. Now, here's something I've learned. I have had a bit of editing going on, because there's a lot of testing and swearing before you're seeing this that you haven't seen, because I couldn't get this part, the bit that's going to go over here, I could not get this to go on, to fit. It would have a massive gap all the way around the edge, and I figured out what it was. You see that there, that little bit of white? Let me zoom in. That little bit of white there, there was a little knobbin thing that stuck up there, and it's supposed to go in that recess there on the inside of this. It was sticking up too far, and no matter what I did, I could not get it to fit. This bit here needs to go into that hole. This bit is supposed to go in there, but it was interfering. It wouldn't go in. And given the fact that this is loose as anything and keeps falling off all the time, it's really annoying. Yeah, I decided just to snip it, because I've discovered all this extra work we did on here is not actually all in vain. You know, I was saying we're never going to see any of this. We actually are, a little bit. Because what happens is, this goes over the top. I'll zoom out again. This goes over the top like this. Like this, you see. Now, without that little bit that I've cut off, with that little bit interfering, it actually fits properly on. And fits flush. Now, it's got a little bit of a gap, but we need to screw it in place. That sits on there, and you can actually see down inside to the mechanisms inside. So obviously this is going to be covered up underneath here. So in reality, you're probably not actually going to see much. But what I will do, because we want to make this look good, I will, of course, because we're going to see it, I will, when we come to paint it, take this all apart and I'll paint those interior components, the silvers and the golds. I will paint them properly, and I'll go through and get rid of any seam lines as well. For the sake of this bit at the moment, just building it, I'm not going to do that now. And also, when we do the final build, that gold piece, I will glue that in place, so it doesn't keep flopping around, because it's loose at the minute, but it keeps popping off its little peg that holds it in place and flopping about inside, so it's kind of annoying. But yeah, I just spent about an hour trying to get this piece of cowling to fit, and it would not fit. It was a massive gap here. There's still a little tiny gap, but it's not as bad. But there was a massive gap all the way down the side, and I was swearing all kinds of words your mother wouldn't want you to know about. So yeah, it was... and then I tried it without that bit, the gold bit inside, and it fit perfectly. So I figured out that little nubbin that holds it in place at the top there doesn't matter. Once it's in place, when I finish this, if I glue the gold bit onto the post at the back, it's not going to move around, it's not going to come off, it'll be fine. And all those pipes that go into the grey piece at the front, I'll glue them all in place once it's finished and once we're doing proper painting as well. So what's next? Yeah, you wouldn't imagine the swear words coming out of me. Oh, there were words you can't imagine. Right, so we need to get some O2 screws, and we shall screw the living crap out of it, if I can get it in the hole. Now it's moved around on the screwdriver. Oh, hang on. Oh, how to manoeuvre a screw onto the tip of a screwdriver with one hand. There we go. Get that in there. Apologies if my hand is in the middle of the shot. That goes on there. Yes. I'm not going to do it super tight, because we are going to take all this apart again down the road, so it just needs to be on. There we go. Now while I'm doing this, trying to thread a screw onto a screwdriver with one hand, and getting my big fat hand back of the hand in shot. Apologies, I know you can't see anything right now. Did you know, well you didn't know because I never told you, but hey, do you want an interesting Foxx fact? Interesting Foxx fact, I can tie a knot in thread with one hand. How's that for an interesting fact? Bet you never thought I'd ever tell you something like that. I bet you'd have no idea why I've told you that, and I don't really know. I'm just padding. I'm stalling for time. There we go. I know you're looking at the back of my hand right now, and I do apologise. There's only so much I can do. That screw's not in properly. Let's just repaint position that one. There we go. There we go. So again, not too tight. I can take it all apart again. So there we have the upper engine cowling now in place. I'll just make sure that fin is in place. Yep, the fin is in the little hole. That's all on. So I never knew that. I never knew that you could see. I always thought that was like solid, like the bottom part, but it's not. It's got stuff inside. So we have to hope that there's no light leak from in there. One thing I didn't check actually. I never checked that. I'll quickly do it now. Do 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 do. Now it won't be, obviously it'll be really dark for you on telly, but it won't be that dark for me here. Let me just turn that one off. Right, how are we doing for light leaks? What can you see? You're seeing blackness. I'm seeing a little bit of light leak, but nothing major. To be honest, I'm seeing not much at all. I'll turn the light back on again. Give me 1 second. Ooh, there we go. One of those, one of those, and a bit of that. There we go. Right, so I'll just unplug that. So I was seeing a little bit of light bleed here, just a little tiny bit, and a little bit on this side. And have I forgotten the light? It looks a bit orange, never mind. And a little bit round the edge here, just between this black and the grey part. But that's basically because this is just bare plastic. Once this has been coated in primer and painted, all of that light leak will vanish. It'll all go away. Also, that's been bent. I don't like that way that's been bent. I must fix that. Was that bent to start with? I can't remember. I'll double check that. So yes, there was some light leak there, but only microscopic and tiny, and I will deal with that when you paint it. So there we go. We are now almost. I think that almost completes. Well, obviously not almost completes because we've still got under there to do. I don't know whether any of this will be visible at all once all this stuff comes on here. I know you do see engine parts, but I think this is covered over. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember from my memory of X-Wings. We'll find out. Anyway, that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see what happens in the next issue, see what is next to come. But until next time, it just remains for me to say thank you again for watching. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description below for the ways to support this channel. You've got Patreon, you've got Goblin Gaming affiliate links, you've got Amazon, you've got all of the things in there. So go and check out all the links below for all the good stuff. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome like this. Go be awesome. You know you're awesome already. And I shall say, adios amoebas. Ciao bella.